Crypto YouTube, I think the move is going to happen soon. And I wanted to show you some similarities of between previous price action in 2019, which on this channel, I've come to make the loose assumption, if not relatively safe assumption, that Bitcoin price action in current times is more like 2019, 2020, and almost nothing like, or very dissimilar from the vast majority of Bitcoin price history. So with that loose assumption made, during 2019, when Bitcoin price came down to the weekly 55, on the week, it moved up with a vengeance, 46% move. That week started under the 55. And on the daily, you had, right, where was it? Here. So this is the same spot before that 48% move. On the daily, you had a series of higher lows and bullish divergence on the daily. So those two things, weekly 55, bullish divergence, and through a series of higher lows on RSI, but lower lows on daily closing candles. That's the exact situation we have going on now. So this is the daily, not the weekly. You have a series of higher lows. This right here is a higher low than this, but price closed lower. Same with this relative to that and relative to that. So you have a series of lower low daily candle closings with higher highs on the RSI. RSI getting ready to bust out of this red zone here. While on the weekly, and this is what I've been talking about in my other videos, I think a bear trap is going to happen first. And what easier way than to close this week below the 55 and then have next week start off looking, dumpy, maybe even bring it down to 30K. And then bam, then you skyrocket up to 43K for that 40 something percent. Yeah. So about that actually be 5% less. I would imagine it gets a little bit past the weekly 21 is where things often wick up to in these relief rallies that often end up failing. And this one could end up failing. As you can see here, it went just above the weekly 21 there. So my target for a relief rally might be as low as 43K. Maybe even 42.5, but I think that would be the base of it. And what I would be looking for is somewhere between a typical spot just above the weekly 21. So let's start a box about there. And then to this market structure at the bottom here, that was support and now will be resistance. I would say it could go as high as 48.8 or so. And that would be on the high end. But I do think that a relief rally is about ready to happen in that it's mimicking a pretty strong relief rally back from 2019, which that week was the week of October 21st, 2019. And those are the targets for it. So that is what I'm saying. Now, if you want to see the differences of the other areas where things simply broke down, even though you got two pops here both times. So actually, yeah, I guess you got a breakdown right here. So you broke down there and Bitcoin broke down below the blue line, which is the weekly 55. If I can remove the other ones to make it less confusing. So you had a breakdown there and there. So let's keep those circles there and mark off this spot and look at it on the daily and see what, if we could see any major differences here. So this was my area of interest. Now, as you can see here, when Bitcoin fell below that weekly 55, what was the daily RSI doing? Making lower and lower lows in lieu with price, which means there's no divergence. They're doing the same thing. So that breakdown below the weekly 55 had lower lows on the daily RSI. On this breakdown of the daily RSI, you had lower lows happening and lower lows happening. No divergence, just bearish price action with bearish RSI. No bullish RSI action. And those breakdowns have the same type of thing going on. And so those were 2 for 2. breakdown under those conditions. And what is 1-for-1 so far is bullish divergence on the daily. And if this pop plays out in current times, then Bitcoin's, ratio would be, it's 2-for-2 on both a relief rally and 2-for-2 on a dump past the weekly 55 EMA under those posturings with RSI in such condition. So I personally, I'm in long positions right now. I am not suggesting leverage to anybody else. I'm simply stating what I'm doing. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. However, there are a lot of things stacking up showing a relief rally is imminent. And I typically look for moves to happen by or begin happening by or happen on Wednesdays. And because weekly candles go from Sunday to Sunday, for some reason, Wednesday, somewhere in the middle, it's just some magic day that the week decides its direction by Wednesday. Sometimes the week decides its direction on the very first few hours and just keeps going up on that week, but usually have some downside before a green candle, which is why most green candles have a wick at the bottom. And usually that the time that the candle flipped green here, the candle flipped green there, the candle flipped green there, it's usually by Wednesday, and actually this candle flip here, it's typically by Wednesday or before. I don't see too many wicks flip green on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Or I mean, not Sunday, but technically trading Saturday. So I will mark. So let's look at May 24th, the week of May 24th and June 9th. May 24th and June 9th. Just, oh no, these are daily candles. What the hell am I thinking? Sorry. Here you go. These wicks right here. So for example, this wick there and that wick there. So we will go to the week of June 7th and June 28th. So June 7th, the candle started right here on this red candle, went down. All right, so that's Sunday, Monday, and on Tuesday, it made up its mind and stayed green the rest of the week. So that was a Tuesday flippage. The week was red, and on Tuesday, it flipped green decisively. Okay? And that's kind of what I'm looking forward here too. And it honestly could happen on Monday. Like it could start green and really race up. But I would suspect some down movement similar to that week had before the rest of the week here had, it made it close green. So what did I say? June, gosh, I can't remember. What was the other month or the other week? June 28th. All right, so this is where the week started, and it only spent one day. That can't be right. Seven. So it actually barely closed green. So this one was a little different. It at the beginning of the week went both directions. It started the first day down, the second day up, the next 2 days down, and then 3 days up. So that was a weird week. That's why it's so hard to trade in this environment. In 1 week, you had to change your directions 4 times, and then it barely squeaked out a green candle. Like that was a wicked. That was not a very profitable trading week, I would assume, with all that price going up and down. So that is something that I bet will end, and that's what I mean by choppy price action. It's hard to make money, and so what I'm looking for this next week is, let's mark off, this is, the first day of the week happens at 8 p.m. New York time today. And I would suspect that candle could go down a little bit more. The next day could go down a little bit more, maybe even break 30K for a bear trap. And then I would suspect the majority of the other days, perhaps 4 to 5 days, all be green in a row. That is personally what I'm looking forward to happening. Do I think that has a monstrous percentage chance to happen? No, it's just an opinion. And what happens in price really, has nothing to do with my opinion. That's simply what I guess would happen, but I'm fully prepared for a drop. I'm fully prepared for more choppy sideways action, which is easier to trade because, in my opinion, it's a no trade or get out of your trades. So even though that's my opinion, I will be ready and prepared to take action the other way if what I think if my opinion is wrong, which in trading, your opinion is going to be wrong all the dang time. It's all about risk management. So that's what we got here. But I personally am looking for a strong move up, and that is the time frame in which I think can happen. And this is the area in which profit taking might be a pretty good idea. And, you don't have to take profits all in one spot like in the middle. You could take some here, some here, some here, some here, and some here, and kind of straddle the middle of this box here and make your profit taking in that box. That's personally what I will be doing as well. Perhaps taking 20% profits here, 10, 10, 20, 10, 10, 10 all the way up or something to that effect until 100. That's roughly what I'll be doing. And in addition to that, if this relief rally happens, this is when I would be interested in seeing what my small alts that never got a relief rally really, except one that I'm holding west. It's still in an uptrend. Is it? Yeah, it is. It is still in an uptrend as long as this can poke out a higher high, but it's got a long time to decide whether it's going to do that or not. So all besides wet, so I probably won't dump that since it's in an uptrend, a daily and weekly uptrend. But once Bitcoin gets in this area, that's when I'm going to be very interested in looking at these small alts that I haven't been able to get rid of. I want to see if they've gone on some type of rally to get me closer to break even or whatever the case is. And I will be looking to potentially sell those with the idea that Bitcoin won't just keep flying up. It'll come down to a certain point. It could come back down to, 40 to 37 around the high of this area here. It could come down to the middle of the range to fool a lot of people, 35. And if it doesn't hold that, I don't suspect it's going to come back down to 30 and stay. If it breaks 35, I would suspect it moves down to 23 or 24 at least. But I would be looking for either A, B, or C to happen. A is hitting the top of the structure after a rally up. And if it could stop there, that'd be really bullish. I honestly don't know if that's going to happen. Or B, for Bitcoin to hit this green box, then come back to the middle of this range, which we've been playing in here. Or C, for Bitcoin not to be able to poke out a higher low, but then breaks down. And therefore, since I had sold some assets and I'm holding Tether, either way, whether it's A, B, or C, if this ends up playing out, I will be holding Tether and will be able to buy cheaper than what those small alts were during Bitcoin's rally up here, because they're probably going to rally with Bitcoin. Even if you're still not even break even, mathematically, you would, if you sold during this rally and that coin had some form of rally and you bought back at Bitcoin's, retracement down, that coin will be cheaper than what it was when you sold it up here when Bitcoin was in this box. Therefore, you can get more of that crypto, even though when you sold it here, perhaps you were at a loss. But if you did that, then you'd have more crypto, as opposed to not selling an altcoin when Bitcoin rallies up here. And hopefully that altcoin rallies, even if you're still in the negative and saying, oh, I'm not selling at a loss. So if Bitcoin comes down here, your altcoin drops 50% more, you're holding the exact same amount, and then, a year later you sell in profit. Well, why not have more of that crypto because you did sell at a loss here? You buy it back even lower, and a year later, once you're in profit, you have more of that, so you have more profit. Does that make sense? So I've been talking about that with my Patreon community for a number of weeks now, even though Bitcoin has gone sideways and down for in a very extended amount of time, the second longest in Bitcoin history that Bitcoin's been below the weekly 10 EMA, which is right here. Bitcoin has only spent this much time below it once, and that was right before bearish news, the drop off to the depths of capitulation. And this whole thing took a year long. So that's it. So happy Sunday. If you're watching this on Monday, happy new week, and definitely be looking for a nice big move to happen. It's likely going to be not a small move. It'll probably be well over 25% one way or another, and it could all happen in 1 week. Might be a 2-week long move, but it could all happen in a week. It's going to be big, so be ready either way, and good luck.